Homeboy is out here in a lawsuit with Adin Ross and the fuck ass creator of the Academics TV Twitter page, George Wynn,
which is Asian man.
Yeah. Not only are they like fucking around with steak and doing all sorts of weird practices behind steak, tipping each other and shit, they're using that money to bot
Drake. To bot Drake streams. Imagine get hit with Dorico.
Bro is out here botting his streams, so everything pretty much post beef was bullshit. Nokia is bullshit, which means everything from some special songs for you was bullshit. All that shit was bullshit.
Who's got a Rico? 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 Got a Rico? Who's got a Rico? Is it Drakey? Is it Adin? Is it Academic? George Wynn. Yeah.
Yeah, no.
What the fuck the function?
I wanted to make this a fuck you to all of those commenters on those videos, but then it awakened a new question to me. Is Drake just not the biggest industry plant
ever?
At least of this era. I understand that that's a big claim, and I'm sure people probably want me to back that up, so I can do so pretty quickly. First of all, we knew Drake from Degrassi. Then that leads into his relationship with Lucien Grange, of all fucking people. Now, granted, it's probably wise to stick your guy who you want to have a big bet with one of the biggest stars in Lil Wayne, right? That makes sense. But it wasn't just Lil Wayne at the time. Features with the biggest artists, Young Jeezy, and all these people, which I guess I can somewhat ascribe to Jay Prince being in his corner as well. But then you've got Kanye West directing your video for your debut single. That doesn't happen for every artist. It just doesn't. How the fuck is Kanye West already in your corner when you first start? This is when I knew bro is probably an industry plant. And I know we've already got our conspiracies around this one. The Meek Mill beef. And the reason why I think that helps prove that he's an industry plant is because, first of all, we like to look at that time with rose-colored glasses. We like to think that Drake was on top and Meek was already just a decent artist at the time. Meek Mill was scorching hot at the time.
At the time? Oh, yeah. No,
he was scorching fucking hot. He was probably just under Drake at that time. And there was 3 tracks in that beef. There was Back to Back, which everybody knows. Mm-hmm. There was Meek's diss track that nobody talks about. And then there was Charged Up that nobody talks about. My problem with that beef is, first of all, before that beef, we knew Drake largely as Drake the type of nigga that blah, 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 whiny little pissant with big eyebrows, right? That's who he was, right? And everybody was constantly making fun of him, just coming off of Marvin's Room and all that bullshit. And then, first of all, he tried to beef with Common, lost that beef, right? And then we go into this Meek beef. And if you remember the songs, Charged Up wasn't nothing crazy. He drops Back to Back, which goes insane. Meek drops his diss. And what does he say in that diss? Tips homeboy pissed on you in the movie theater and you ain't even do shit. Can you tell me what in Back to Back is more damning than that? Here's what happened. The label didn't see anything from Charged Up, decided to put Back to Back out, put radio play behind it, put it fucking everywhere, and stomped on the fucking Meek shit. Because again, what is more damning than that? And not only that, but people were already corroborating it as it was happening live. I remember Lil Duval that same night tweeting out, "Damn, I never thought anybody talk about this." But everybody was quick to say, and I, for the life of me now that I know that Twitter is half bots, I believe that the overwhelming support for Drake after that, or I guess the overall shitting on Meek after that was mostly bots.
So let me say this, because I don't want to speak on that part of it, but what I will say is that the overwhelming majority of Drake's bad boy persona came from that beef.
Started
Like,
talking about mob ties ever
there
since then.
there was no gunplay. Well, not no, but like there was very little gunplay in Drake's bars prior to that beef. He scrapes Meek out the way. All of a sudden, he plays with Drake's. So like, you know what I mean? It was very telling what he thought he got out of that beef, because his tune went to a much tougher place post the Meek beef.
And it allowed him to do a lot more as far as getting gangster on that side of things, but then also still allow him an avenue to do all this different type of music, right?
Sure.
Okay, so that's the Meek beef. This right here, I saw this on Rap Latte with Toure, and I guess there's another guy on here, but he makes an interesting point about Drake and his popularity that I've never actually thought about, and it could probably lead to some credence behind why he's not doing U.S. tours right now.
As far as his impact and all that type of stuff, if you put butts in seats, people are impacted by it. That's where I always do that. And that's the thing about me with Drake. His numbers look like stadium numbers, like 5 nights Taylor Swift stadium numbers, but he always did arenas. Why are you not doing 5 stadiums like Taylor Swift when you got
you're saying his touring ticket numbers are less than his music numbers?
Yes, in comparison to another artist, like The Weeknd's playing SoFi Stadium, he's playing all these stadiums. Taylor Swift is playing stadiums. Why do you keep playing arenas?
I think at some level, first of all, he doesn't have the demand of a lot of people. Like a lot of Drake fans like to say that if you go outside, you're going to hear Drake's music. But y'all are not out here supporting him to the level that Taylor Swift fans are supporting her, to the likes that The Weeknd's fans are supporting him, to the point that Kendrick's fans are supporting him, because they do much larger venues and Drake is out here doing these small time arenas. And then making it seem like, oh, I'm selling out all these tours.
But not selling them out, though. But like not selling them out. Very obviously not selling them out.
Definitely not selling them out now. But you've been doing small arena tours, but you're supposed to be a stadium artist. Your music streams have led people to believe that you should be on the echelon of a Taylor Swift, The Weeknd, Kendrick Lamar.
First of all, speaking of Kendrick, the largest stadium in the country that you're from, the largest stadium in the city that you're from, in Toronto, had back-to-back sellout nights for the first time ever, and it wasn't you. And in fact, it was your arch rival.
And so, when I put all of that together, right, the Meek beef and the fabrication of his image, the fact that his tours don't really do the numbers respectively compared to other larger artists, and then I think about all the lying and shit that he does in his music about where he came from. We know he didn't start from the bottom because we all saw him on the grassy get shot up. We know that's not you. And then now, the lawsuit against him for botting streams, which leads me to believe that either he sought out a company big enough to facilitate streaming, or State came to him like, hey, we can help you kind of, work out these streams. One of those fucking things happened, and that happened because he was so used to his career being botted and streamed before, he doesn't have that resource anymore, so he has to go to State. But also, not for nothing, every time something damning came out about Drake, the narratives were kind of largely swept away by like all these Drake fans who would come out and be like, we don't give a fuck about that. If it's ghostwriting, we don't give a fuck about that. If it's a daughter, we don't give a shit about that. If it's, this or that, we don't care. Yeah, Drake is just the biggest industry plant. And if y'all have anything to say in the comments, it's fuck you forever. You're probably a bot. Fuck you and your mother.